The US-Israel war against Iran is more than it seems. We're sharing a different perspective, the real story behind America's strategy. By starting this war, the US has risked its costly missiles and economy. But it's not just about changing Iran's regime. The goal is a long-term strategic advantage. This conflict is key to US dominance beyond just Iran's oil or shipping routes. Watch this video to see why the US may want to extend the war until June 2026, despite Trump's push for a quick campaign, and how it could give America a strategic edge over China, even while facing huge military and financial losses. Just before attacking Iran's supreme leader in February, the US processed 2.3 petabytes of data through AI in a single night. To put that in perspective, 2.3 petabytes equals roughly 1.1 million hours of HD video. This data came from multiple sources including satellite imagery, cellular frequencies, Wi-Fi signatures, traffic movement, facial recognition from street cameras, lights on in government buildings, and even internet traffic spikes from Cloudflare HTTPS requests. The US military used a new AI tool to process all this data and create a real-time 4D map of Iran. This allowed them to execute precise strikes against IRGC leadership targets. The US has always remained at the top of military technology because its weapons are battle-tested in real combat. As modern warfare shifts toward AI, the US needs a real battlefield to test its advanced AI combat tools. Iran was the perfect choice. It's powerful enough to launch modern attacks. It has hypersonic missiles and drones, but not powerful enough to strike a nuclear weapon. This makes it ideal for testing without extreme risk. Before the US faces a bigger enemy like China, which has hypersonic weapons with nuclear warheads, the American military needs a real combat-tested AI system. This system must do two things: recognize threats and engage them automatically and predict the enemy's next move. Every attack Iran launches actually strengthens the US AI system. This is intentional. To reach 100% reliability, the AI needs to see every possible Iranian tactic. Every day Iran survives and fights back, it gives the AI new edge cases, rare situations that make the code stronger and more unpredictable. The US military is using Operation Epic Fury in Iran as a real-world testing ground for its AI project Maven. Maven is not a single robot or weapon. It is a massive AI nervous system that connects every US drone, satellite, and ground sensor into a single smart map, the Maven Smart System. Project Maven is the blueprint for how the US plans to win future wars using AI. In 2020, it took analysts 12 hours to identify a target and authorize a strike. Today, in 2026, Maven does it in under 1 minute. It uses computer vision to automatically spot rocket launchers, tanks, or even specific personnel from thousands of hours of video that a human could never watch. By processing massive amounts of live combat data, including 2.3 petabytes of data processed in a single night in February, the US aims to secure a 10-year military advantage over China. Here's the key difference. The US is learning from real combat. China relies on simulations. Real data beats simulated data every time. The US Navy, Army, and Air Force each have their own interconnected version of Project Maven. This means a US Navy ship can instantly see what an Air Force drone sees and fire a missile based on the AI's recommendation. The system analyzes the changing battlefield in seconds. It runs millions of what-if scenarios every day to predict enemy moves before they happen. The US establishment believes that if they stop the war now, China will eventually catch up in AI data. By staying engaged in a prolonged conflict in the Middle East, the US keeps its AI war machine running and learning 24/7. They are betting that the combat-proven intelligence gained from Project Maven will make them so dominant that China will never dare to start a conflict in the Pacific. While China has excellent AI researchers, the US has something China lacks: combat data. AI only gets smarter by seeing real-world situations. Through Project Maven, the US AI has been learning from real combat in Ukraine, the Red Sea, and now Iran. This live war data is a 10-year advantage because China's military AI has mostly been trained in simulations, not real battles. The US is using Maven to lead Project Replicator, which aims to deploy thousands of cheap AI-driven drones simultaneously. This quantity plus AI strategy is designed to defeat China's traditional advantage of having a larger navy. You may wonder, if the US has such sophisticated systems, why is Iran still able to launch attacks? The main reason is that Iran has moved much of its warfare capability hundreds of meters underground. For example, Project Maven is very good at detecting activity on the surface, such as a moving truck or a radar system turning on. However, it is far less effective at seeing through solid granite mountains. Each time Iran launches a surprise attack, US systems record the heat signatures, flight paths, and electronic signals. The goal is not only to stop the attack, but also to study it. In other words, they are not just trying to win the fight, they are trying to understand and solve Iranian tactics. For an AI system, a surprise attack is simply a new data point that helps ensure the same tactic will not succeed again in the future. To understand how long the Iran war could continue, we need to look at how much time US AI-driven warfare systems need to mature. In this context, an important point is the June 2026 deadline the US military has reportedly set for itself. The Pentagon's goal is to reach a stage of 100% machine-generated intelligence by June 2026. By then, the military wants its AI trained using live combat data from the Iran conflict to handle the entire targeting cycle on its own, sensing, identifying, and deciding. The objective is to collect enough data so that AI systems can eventually predict an enemy's move before it even happens. Military analysts often suggest that 3 to 6 months of active combat provides the ideal amount of real-world data to train a new generation of warfare algorithms. This may explain why, despite Trump's talk of a quick deal, military operations, such as Operation Epic Fury, are reportedly continuing with 300 to 500 strikes per day. While the military views the war as a way to gather AI data, Trump sees the conflict differently. He wants to end the war soon, either by making a deal or by striking Iran's energy grid to cripple the country and potentially seize its oil resources. Trump's view is that if the US is spending billions on this war, it should be reimbursed with Iranian oil assets. But this is not only about money, it is also about China. If the US controls Karg Island, the main hub for Iran's oil exports, it would effectively control the flow of oil that fuels China's economy. China has a $400 billion deal with Iran, and even during the current conflict, China is receiving millions of barrels of Iranian oil at steep discounts, often paid for in yuan instead of US dollars. If Trump strikes a deal and ends the war, the data stream for Project Maven would stop, and the military would lose its live laboratory. In that case, you could see a real-time clash between a president seeking a quick victory to claim politically and a military establishment that prefer a longer test to stay ahead of China.